Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the review, let us all remember the tragic loss of something very dear to each and every one of us. Let us honor the memory of Applejack's old hat. Well, enough of that. Start the review. The Rarity Trilogy concludes with yet another character crossover, this time pitting her with Applejack. And it's an episode that brings us back to Manehattan and reunites us with Coco Pamel. With a setup like this, you'd think this would be one of Season 5's most memorable episodes. And thankfully, unlike the previous episode, this one leaves a far more memorable impression. Applejack and Rarity are summoned by the map to Manehattan to solve a friendship problem but aren't quite sure what it is. They eventually see a flyer that leads them to Coco Pamel, who's planning to bring back the Midsummer Theater revival to restore the neighborhood into a helpful community. AJ and Rary try to get volunteers to help them out, but when everyone turns them down, they're left to set up the play on their own. The first improvement over the previous episode is definitely the pacing. Right away, the episode gets across key points such as which pony the map is sending on the quest, where it's taking place, searching for the problem to be solved, finding it, learning about it, and trying to solve it. Each of the three acts seems to be split up accordingly, taking on different pieces of the story. The first one takes the girls to the city where they search for the problem to be solved, the second has them learning about the situation and going about solving it, and the third one shows the resolution as well as the importance of the moral that the episode wants to teach. Not a single one of these acts drags out too much of its runtime or goes by too fast, allowing everything to unfold at a speed that all audiences can follow. Next is the chemistry between Rarity and Applejack. Out of all the main 6 pairings, Rary-Jack has always been seen by many as the most identical and well-grounded, and for good reasons. Both Rarity and Applejack have widely different living styles as well as polar opposite interests, so seeing the two work off each other offers a lot of opportunity for interesting interaction. And the episode properly takes advantage of it, with Rarity getting overexcited about being in the big city while occasionally having a fashion freakout or acting like a drama queen, while Applejack tends to get annoyed by her behavior. However, as the episode progresses, AJ does warm up to Rarity, allowing them to have moments in the story where they connect and communicate like good friends with opposite interests would. It's also good to see how Rarity and Applejack adjust differently to Manehattan, with Applejack having a hard time given her being more used to a modest environment. Which makes sense, since she did leave behind this type of lifestyle with her fancy relatives for a simpler life on a farm. It even creates a dilemma for Applejack to face, as she wouldn't understand why the map would want her to go there since she isn't accustomed to this type of lifestyle. The setting is also a great thing to come back to. Every time Manehattan is brought back from the last time we see it, it looks more and more like a big busy city like New York or Chicago, with crowded streets, outdoor shops, apartment buildings, and parks. The civilians and inhabitants also give this city a lot of attitude. Crowds of ponies and even individual ponies have a distinct difference from each other, from the clothes they wear to the accents that they speak in, which adds variety to the atmosphere. It's also nice to see Coco Pamel returning, as well as giving her a bit of a backstory. Her first scene gives us well put together exposition on the theater, as well as what the city used to be like before it stopped being planned, and even shows us some insight on what inspired her to pursue a career in fashion. She even gets to be an important character to the plot's development and expresses a generous personality that she learned and developed from when she first met Rarity. There's also something very welcoming and relaxed about how the play brought ponies together. Seeing all these ponies that previously didn't take time for anything else in their day all stopping here with a common interest in plays to watch one peacefully as a connected community just brings this really happy feeling to me. They talk to each other, interact, spend time together, do something nice for each other, and even feel very thankful for the play that brought them together. It's simply a very well done segment in the act that just brings this very comforting and nice nature. And the moral, though pretty obvious, is a very nice one and it's elaborated well. A question brought up early on is why Twilight couldn't come since she would have easily cleaned up the mess in the city. But if she did that, the city folk wouldn't have learned anything. With Applejack leaving soon and not having time to stay, she shows the city ponies what they can do with the lesson they learned from the time they shared watching the play. How they can take time out of their lives to work together as a group of people to accomplish something. It's a lesson that reflects on how difficult communication in a big city can be, but how it's still possible if someone puts effort into it. And is a lesson that any community can take after. Made in Manehattan closes off the Rarity Trilogy on a fairly high note, with fun characters, great interactions, soothing settings, even pacing, and a meaningful resolution. It's definitely an episode that I'll be seeing again sometime soon. MisAnthro Pony, over and out.
I want to check in with Apple Bloom and find out how the Sisterhood social turned out.
Oh, absolutely, my dear. Just as soon as I stop that pony in the shop over there from purchasing that dreadfully hideous scarf. Stop! You're making